is going on, you guys? My name is CodyT503 and this is Interesting Podcast. Coming to you guys on May 8th, 2024 for episode 95, where today we actually have a very special guest. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it is an absolute pleasure to bring to you guys Kevin BRANDT.
Hey, how's it going?
How was your day going, sir?
Not bad. It's nice being retired.
Oh, that is awesome.
Terry,
well, thank you so much.
Terry and Jim are working. I'm retired, so that's good.
All right, man. Well, let's just start out for all the people who maybe don't know you. Maybe you can introduce your name, where you're from, and what you do in pro wrestling.
My name's Kevin BRANDT. I'm from Portland, Oregon. I live in McMinnville now. Always been a big fan of pro wrestling since I was a kid. And about 30 years ago, I got involved with it and been in and out of different promotions. And so what I do, I managed. I've done announcing, managing, commentating, just anything that can help. I enjoy it. It's fun.
That is really, really cool. That is awesome. So before we actually get into your professional wrestling career, like when did you start watching professional wrestling?
Let's see. 68, 69. I'm old, wow. You know.
Wow, that's crazy. That's like Andre the Giant days.
Oh, it was great here. Beauregard, Lonnie Main. Yeah, it was fun watching the old guys from the Pacific Northwest and stuff. And yeah, I enjoyed that a lot.
That is insane. So like, was there one person like back then that like you wish that you would have been able to work with nowadays if they were still around?
Buddy Rose. He was always fun to watch. I actually went and saw Beauregard. He had a band called the Phantoms, and I went to when it was the Paramount, which is now Portland, went and saw his band play there. So that was kind of fun. But yeah, I really was a big fan of Buddy Rose.
That is really awesome. That is really cool. And you had just said that it was 30 years ago that you had like started getting like into the roles of professional wrestling. So can you kind of like walk us through your whole beginning?
Yeah, I just was going to shows and I started help out as a fan, and then the Kaforis were running the show, and I started doing timekeeping, bell ringing, and then geez, making me think about stuff. And just from then I started going to different shows and ended up working with different people and met different wrestlers, and just sort of kind of got myself into it with different promotions, doing things for this and that. And then 2001, I started my own promotion. Didn't last long, but then I worked with Sam Sims in 2003 for his then company CPW, and that's when I really started doing more stuff. It turned into SCW in Washington, but it was CPW at first.
That's really, really interesting. So you're like really like well-rounded in DOA, where you do basically everything, right?
I have for the past 15 years. Yes, I've managed, I've commentated, I've done ring announcing, just everything they want me to do. So yeah. It's been almost 16 great years with that company. And I also work part-time with BCW, and I did in between the days I wasn't working with DOA, I did managing at BCW. A lot of nice guys there. I was the leader of the BRANDT dynasty, and had some fun times there.
That is really awesome. So like, how does it feel to kind of like look back at that whole long period of you being in pro wrestling and then just knowing that it was built off of just one opportunity?
It's great. I love it. I didn't think I'd ever do it, but when I was young, my dad died when I was 13, and he loved professional wrestling. So I started getting into it more, and I used to go because it was 3 hours a night where you didn't have to think about nothing else. You had a good time, or anything else you had problems with, they weren't there. And it was just a time that I said, I want to do this sometime. Make it so people have a great time. I know I can entertain. I've done, I put on concerts and all sorts of stuff. So I enjoy doing it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you were just talking about being with DOA for the past like 16 years. So like, when did that begin?
Well, we worked with the company before that, and the whole project came around that a lot of us left that company, and we ended up. I got a call about 3 weeks later, I think it was, from Jason Sullivan and Derek Drexel. I said, "Hey, you want to get involved with a different company?" I go, "What you got?" And they mentioned that they had a company they wanted to do, and so we sat around and talked about it, and we decided, well, we got to get somebody else in here too. And Terry used to work for the other company, so we got hold of Terry, and basically that's how DOA was born. Day one, Drexel and I and Terry are the original members. Jason moved off, but still a big member of the DOA family. He's the one that started it. He had the idea to bring wrestling back into the Northwest, and he did a hell of a job. We didn't think we were going to last 3 shows. Now here we are 15 and a half years later.
That is awesome. I know I was kind of trying to go through Outway's history the other day, and your guys' first event was First Blood, correct?
I'm pretty sure it was. You're asking me to go way back. I think that we were running. I think we ran at Rock Roll Pizza for a while. Then we went to the Oregon City place that we had. It was like a club. Went there for a while, and then we've been to many buildings throughout the years. So the center out in St. John's, it was a different center out there. I think it was the Charles something center. I'm not really sure. Then we had the Moose place for a while, and that was good for like 2.5 years. That was great. We used to fill that place up every 2 weeks. And then just here and there, Harvey's Comedy Club, different places. Then we ended up with, I'm probably missing a few places, but we ended up having COVID, and that kind of shut down that. So we came back, and we were actually the very first wrestling show to run in Oregon when they lifted the attendance in buildings. We were the very first one. We had about close to 500, 600 people. And we ran that at the Jackson Armory.
Oh, that is really awesome. That is really cool. But before we get into venues, because that's something that I really want to dive in with you. What is the whole story behind the Don't Own Anyone name?
And it's because a few promotions that were running then wouldn't let other wrestlers wrestle for other independent companies in the area. Mm-hmm. And these guys work for a living by going to different companies, by getting their merchandise sold. And if you're sticking with one company and you're not under contract, you're not making tons of money. You have to keep going from place to place to place. And that was our idea. We don't own anybody. You come and go as you please. Just make sure you're at the shows we are booked on, and that's all we care about.
Yeah.
We don't say you can't wrestle somewhere else. It's just not fair to anybody.
Yeah. Yeah. So how is it like working on the production side of a professional wrestling show? Can you kind of like walk us through those intricacies that you kind of have to look out for?
Yeah, it's a lot more hectic than being out there talking to you guys. I'll tell you that. Everything has to be timed. Jim came along. We've had different camera people, different things we've done over the many years of doing this. But Jim, the newest family member of DOA, one of the owners, did this stuff for years with bands and stuff. Now he's gone into the production side with the cameras and the computers, the intro stuff. He takes care of all that. We have another guy that does our live feed for IWTV. It's hard. You got to have everything timed. You have to be down to the minute, especially when you're doing a live program. We try to get done in 3 hours. Sometimes it takes longer, but it's all the work beforehand, getting ready, everything set up. It takes a long time to set everything up. And that's behind the production part is the same as putting up the ring and stuff. You got to get the cables and the people set up. Everything has to be perfect. Otherwise, it doesn't go the way you want it to. But it's fun. I mean, it's something I learned over the years doing different things, which I really like. You pick up something new all the time.
Yeah. So like, how do you guys even go throughout that process? Like let's say like back in the day when wrestling would be, put on UPN 49 like late at night. Like, how do you guys even get like the whole TV production set up and then be able to like stream it onto like back then like cable or now like streaming services? Like, is there like a special way to be able to actually
Well,
live stream it?
well, yeah, live streaming is a lot more different than we used to put shows on IWTV that were recorded and played later, but the live streaming just seemed the way to go. It took a long time to record one. It didn't take, well, it took the time to record one, but by the time you're done editing it and doing everything else, it takes a couple of weeks to get your show on the air. This way, everything's done right there. Graphics are made during the week. Everything's all set to go. It's all programmed. Back in the old days, you just had to record it and make sure that you had the money to put it on because you got to pay for commercials and stuff like that, get commercial time. So that was a little different. And I kind of like the live stuff because if you play it live, everybody gets to see it live. If you recorded it and a week later it's on, everybody knows what happened. Whether they want to watch it or not, it's up to them. But when it's live, especially at DOA, and you know this, you never know what's going to happen at DOA. I mean, just because someone's not booked don't mean they're not going to show up. So we keep it that way. We started as a company that had every style there was, from lucha to hardcore to just regular high flying wrestling, and that's what we've always kept it at.
Yeah.
Let's go. Go. Come on. Go.
Sorry, it's my son.
That's okay.
Go.
I say the same thing to my animals.
Come on, bud. Come on. Silas. Go.
Sorry about that, sir.
No, I have kids. They're older now, but I know what you're going through.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's kind of start to talk about you like finding venues as a booker. Like, how difficult is it to have to actually reach out to all of those different venues that you could possibly host at, and then maybe only be able to work out certain deals with certain venues?
Well, I'm not a booker. I'm a promoter with them. And we do find the venues. What you have to do is you have to find one. And people don't understand it's not cheap putting on a show. So you got to find the venue that gives you the best price. It's got to be able to hold so many people so we can make some money off of it. Plus, we have the wrestlers to pay. We have insurance. You know, we got to keep everything in shape. We got to make sure all the ring equipment's good. Everything's good. So factor of cost comes into everything. And you just have to find a venue that will know you'll be able to draw 400 to 500 people in, but still keep it at a halfway decent price, which is nowadays is not easy at all. You know, it's not cheap. Now, old days, I could get a building for $400. I remember renting the Hawthorne Theater one time for $800. And that's like, I don't know, $2,500 to $3,000 now.
Yeah.
So we did Punk Slam there in 2009 and had punk music and wrestling. And I think I rented it for like $800.
Yeah. So do you guys have to kind of have like EMTs on standby whenever you guys are performing?
No, you did in Washington when we ran CPW in Washington. You had to, but we don't have to here. But if something happens, I'm sure we always say, no, nothing's going to happen. We take care of the wrestlers. I mean, but that was part of the law in Washington, but it never was here. The different places have different, like some people don't even have a commission. Some states don't. You just wrestle. So, but we have a commission. Washington has a commission. I'm not sure what other states do. I'm sure there's a few, but I'm just concerned about around here.
Yeah. So like how difficult is it, or like maybe from what you've maybe heard from other people, how difficult is it to go through like licensing and then having to like jump through the hoops in order to even be able to host a professional wrestling event?
Well, Oregon, it used to be really terrible. It did. We had a commissioner that was just, I don't think he liked wrestling. He liked boxing. He didn't like wrestling. And it was hard when he was on, but with the new commission, it's not hardly difficult at all now, as long as, you know, you got all your paperwork together, you know what you want to do, you let them know when your shows are, you pay your tax on the shows, and that's about it. And once in a blue moon, they come out to one of your shows to check on how everything's running. But back in the old day, it was a lot worse. But now it's just that certain companies like us and let's see, POW, companies like that have been around for a little while. They're known for making sure everything's going right, and I don't think the commission in Oregon is as bad as it used to be. It makes it a lot easier for us bringing in talent and everything else. So,
yeah, and to kind of go along with talent, like, how is it kind of trying to find talent to, like, maybe even like suggesting like certain talent? Like, how do you go throughout that process personally?
well, DOA is known for one thing and will always be known one thing is we try to support all the talent from the Pacific Northwest, all the up and comers. And that's why we use a lot of people from Ricky Gibson's school. He's got a great wrestling school out in Hillsboro. And we use a lot of their talent. And our company was based on promoting these talents. So you'll see some of the fly-ins we have, but that's up to, Drexel usually takes care of that, of who's going to come in or not. We won't have 5 or 6 or 7 people fly in because we just want our other talent. Because every month we got people that want to come see their favorite wrestlers from the Pacific Northwest. And if someone gets in, comes in, like we had the surprise of Leo Rush a couple months ago, people go nuts. They don't expect it, but they're there. We have our fan base based on a lot of our local talent, like Amira, the Hammer Brothers, and these people are going places. And we like to be thankful that they're part of our company right now.
Yeah. So was there like any major like star where you've met them or had them come into your company and then maybe even you were like a little bit starstruck?
Oh yeah. I've worked with Raven, Christopher Daniels, Colt Cabana, Fit Finley from WWE. Just to name a few. We've had a lot of them. We had a lady from England, Paige's mom. She came in, and we just had a lot of people. I can't remember them all, but it was really nice meeting Fit Finley. I really liked him. He came in twice, and he was so nice. He watched the people's matches and gave them, input. And when we had our Portland Wrestling Night, we had Raven or Scotty the Body when he was here. Me, Mike Miller, Matt Bourne, and the Grappler were all on that show. It was really fun. It was a great time.
That is so awesome. So, like, what would be one event that you experienced where it was just hitting on like every element, like just like the venue was perfect, the match card was perfect, the crowd was perfect, like maybe you were able to meet some of those big wrestlers, and like, was there one event that really sticks out to you?
Well, not really, but the best event I think we had in a long time, what we've had a lot more since then, was when we came back from the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
Filled up place, everybody having a good time. They all had to wear their mask, but it was fun. You couldn't shut them up. They were just crazy. That's why we call them the inmates of the DOA asylum, because they're fans, but they're also our inmates. But the last couple of years, ever since that show, we have taken off, and it's hard to compare one. I love the Queen of Thorns when we bring in all the lady wrestlers, female wrestlers. They are wonderful, and the shows are always great. And those probably are the special shows like that I really like.
Yeah, interesting.
Because there's a lot of women and wrestlers out there who don't get pushed as much as they should.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. Earlier, before we actually started talking, you had commented that that you've actually been able to go and see Slipknot and Limp Bizkit.
I saw Slipknot with Mudvayne and Rammstein.
Wow.
So yeah, I'm 67 years old, but I'm a metal man. I used to, I took my daughter to see Gwar, and she got to meet them and stuff. And I took her to see Morbid Angel, and she said, "Who the hell are these people on this shit?" And I said, "No, it's the band. Don't worry about it." And the members of Suffocation were always nice. So yeah, I've met a lot of bands over the years. I've actually helped put shows on at Rock and Roll Pizza with Kitty and Cannibal Corpse and all sorts of bands. Yeah, it was fun. Rock and Roll Pizza was a great place. It closed in 2008, 9. No, I think 9.
Interesting. That's crazy. Yeah, I don't know about actually being able to see Mudvayne and Slipknot because like Chad Gray and Corey Taylor probably have like two of like the best voices in my opinion, and they're just amazing. So
They just
that
come
had
on.
a crazy concert.
Now you said you were going to see Limp Bizkit.
Yes.
Yeah, I saw them with Method Man, Redman, Korn, and Limp Bizkit, and I don't remember who else there was. I can't remember. But you sure you want to go see them? Then you know who they have on that show, don't you?
Who?
Corey Haim or Corey Felt, whatever his name is. The guy, you look him up, you'll see. I'm just surprised he's on the show. That's all.
So is there one talent out there like right now where like you're just really impressed with their ability to be able to interact with the crowd?
Oh man, that's a tough question. A lot of people. If it's local talent, it's got to be the Hammer Bros, the Hammer Brothers. They, no matter where they go, people either love them or hate them. And that's one thing you got to have in this business. If you come out and everybody just stares at you for your 10-minute, 20-minute match, you might as well just go in the back and stay there. But these guys come out and they just have so much charisma. And they just, I don't know. I just love watching them. They're really good. I like the way the crowd gets up for them. You know, you've been there. You've seen them when they come out there. And I really like Amira. She's come a long way. She's really good. As for talent from outside, I don't know. There's a lot of them I like, but I haven't been to see a lot of them. And I just see what I see on TV. But some of the ones we brought in, you know, Luther was great. Serpentenko was great. I mean, we've actually brought a lot of people in. I think we try to give the crowd what they want. And I think locally our talent's just really good. And I get pumped for having those people on.
That is really, really cool. So can you kind of like walk us through maybe some of the struggles when it came to advertising for a pro wrestling show before social media?
It was called poster everything and get the hell out of there. When we first started, we had an age limit of 13 and up because our shows had a lot of language, had a lot of violence. I mean, more than it does now. And some places wouldn't even let us hang the posters because it said, 13 older. And a lot of it was just word of mouth and social media came around and made it easier, but just having to go out and run commercials on TV and just poster everything and have all the guys and girls make promos and try to get them out there somehow, but yeah, back in the days of MySpace and stuff. So it was a lot harder than it is now.
Yeah.
It was just, you had to push it constantly somehow. Just had to push. So.
Very interesting. I know when I was talking with Draven Vargas, he was kind of like explaining to me that there was like this one patch of period where it was kind of difficult for professional wrestling companies here in the Pacific Northwest. So like, could you kind of maybe expand on like what he was kind of meaning from your perspective?
It was just there's some periods, sometimes they 5 years, 6 years long. And in the Northwest, it was just everybody was out for each other. Nobody trusted anybody. This promotion didn't want this. That promotion didn't want that. So instead of working together, they were working separately, which caused the fans to not really get into the professional wrestling. I mean, it was not just us, but some companies from the East Coast and stuff like that. They didn't have a great time for about 5-6 years. And that's one of the reasons that Jason really, really wanted to start this company. And I credit him and Drexel and for wanting to and brought back wrestling at the Pacific Northwest. They worked their asses off. We all did because we wanted to see what it was. I mean, no one can ever top the Don Owen days. That's just, that's history. But that was when he ran weekly. Don Owens, Portland Wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he ran weekly. He had all the big stars, Roddy Piper, Buddy Rose. He had television every Saturday night. He ran for years. And after that went away, it was kind of hard to get rolling again. And that's what we tried to do. Now we got more companies in Oregon and Washington, which are making big names and doing good things. And that's what we wanted to see. So,
yeah, I know another thing that I was bringing up with him was like that post COVID for professional wrestling, like there was this like rise as far as attraction to go out and actually go to a pro wrestling show
right.
and whatnot. So, like, do you feel like this generation going forward, like post COVID, has the potential to be one of the best generations in at least a while here in the Pacific Northwest?
Yeah, I think COVID was a terrible thing, but people were starved for entertainment. For 2 years, they couldn't go anywhere or do anything. And you notice how many places are closing down. Theaters aren't making money like they used to because you can stream everything. And I think this gives people a chance to go out. It's just like they're going to concerts again, filling up arenas. And I think this is something, when you watch WWE and you watch AEW, and especially AEW with all the independent wrestlers who can actually go do other shows. All these guys on AEW don't have to just stay with, like WWE has. You can't go and do this and that. AEW guys may not work every show and they can go work on the weekend somewhere or something, which is kind of nice. But I think it's really been a big boom in the last about 2 years before COVID and since COVID. Just people are enjoying it more. And it also depends what kind of show you put on. DOA has always put on different shows. We've put on a 48-hour food fest thing to raise money for schools and food banks and stuff, which we will never do again. Because you guys, to set the world record, you have to stay in the arena for 48 hours. And that was tough. But yeah, that was with a different company. And I think it was NWWA back then, but we did it and it was not easy. It was,
yeah,
we've done it twice, a 24-hour one, I think a 48-hour one, or 72 hours. I don't remember. But it was hard. But yeah, I think you have to do something different. It can't be the same shit you see all the time. It's always got to be something where the fans want to come back and see more. They when I was growing up watching wrestling, I wanted to see what happened at the next show. I wanted to know what was going on. I wanted, oh my God, Buddy Rose going to kill Roddy Piper. I love this. Hair match. All right, I'm ready. Stuff like that. I really enjoy that. And that's what we see at DOA. That's what we try to do.
Yeah. So how was it whenever you first heard about Oregon Pro Wrestling School? Were you excited to know that there was like a new school coming to fruition here in the Pacific Northwest?
Because we had one for a while, DOA Pro Wrestling Asylum, but we lost the building that we were doing it in. So, but Ricky Gibson worked for us for a long time, and then he started working with other companies, and he decided to start a school. And he has a lot of the wrestlers work for him to help train these students. And he has done a hell of a job. These students and these wrestlers are doing great jobs. And it's not one of these where, well, I trained for 3 months, now I'm going to come work for you. It don't work that way. You better train longer in 3 months. And Ricky doesn't let them go anywhere until he thinks they're ready to go. And that's what we want. We want someone to be trained and then come in. And then a lot of them will work, the shows with, setting the ring up, getting their time in, and then getting a chance to be in the ring. And that's what we want. We want the people in Northwest to see the talent from the Pacific Northwest, because there's a lot of it out there that are going everywhere. So,
yeah. So how does it feel, like being backstage and then just having like that like camaraderie where like you do get to see these new wrestlers, you get to see them grow in their career, but then you also get to know them on like a more personal level. Like how is that just backstage for you?
It's family. That's what it is. I mean, I have my family here, but wrestling's my second family. And you get to know them, you get to love them. And when they get called up, you hate to see them go, but they deserve it. It's just the camaraderie. It's just everybody respects everybody. And that's what it is. Everybody has respect for each other, and that's the way it should be. It makes for a better locker room, makes for better shows, and the fans enjoy everything we do, which helps us too.
That is really, really cool. So let's kind of talk about DOA debuting at the Expo Center. So how did like that whole opportunity come, and when did you first get the notification that it would be able to be booked?
Well, Jim and I talked about it for a while because the Eagles was getting kind of small for the crowds we were getting. Then we talked to Terry about it, and that was about 10 months ago, maybe more. And we decided, well, let's see how we go here, see how it goes. And that kept building and building. And it just got to the point where we couldn't fit more than 400 people in there. And then it was all cramped up. I'm sure some people miss the Eagles because it is more intimate, let's say, around. But we want to be able to, we got to move on. I mean, the fan base is getting bigger and we just can't turn away people. We got to make it as big as we can get. And when the expo came up and we talked to them, we negotiated for like 3 or 4 months on contracts and stuff and everything. But it finally came through. They were at the first show and they loved it. They say, we got to do more shows. And yeah, so we'll see how it goes. We're hoping that it stays that way, but you never know. I mean, it's unpredictable what happens. But for right now, and we have a show this Saturday night, May 11th at the Expo Center. I'm pushing it. We got to get that crowd up there. So it's fun. And I know it's $12 to park, but you're inside a secured area. But there's also Max and bus lines. They all go through there. So you don't want to pay for parking, just, you know, and we don't charge any kind of charge for our tickets. Some companies do. So if they charge for parking, we can't get out of the parking. If we could give it for free, we would. But that's a city. That's a city charges the parking. Yeah. But yeah, we were really excited the first show. We're excited to do some more shows there. And DOA just wants to expand. I mean, I don't want to, we want to stay where we're at for as long as we can, because we can fit, I think, up to 1,200 people in there if we wanted to. And when we were getting selling out the Eagles every month, and it only holds 4 to 420, then the more people want to go, you know. So we had to do something. That was what we did.
Yeah, I know. Earlier you had said that like DOA has hosted at like a bunch of different types of venues. Have you ever held a wrestling event at like a ballroom, kind of like, you know, like the Hammerstein Ballroom in Manhattan?
No, we never. No, we haven't done any ballrooms. Not the Crystal Ballroom, not any ballroom. We just mostly, you know, like I said, the Expo Center is a big thing for us, and Eagle Lodges, Moose Lodges, armories, stuff where independent wrestling usually runs. So, and the thing is that everything is getting more and more expensive, and they sometimes it's by the hour. And it's expensive by the hour. That's why we had to make a deal with so much between the time we're there and the time we leave. And Expo Center has been really nice after that first show. Remember, like the man who did the food didn't bring enough. They sold out of food. I mean, they were really impressed with how many people came there and how everybody was to each other. The fans were having a great time and they didn't have to worry about security and stuff. So yeah, DOA is a different crowd. So we just need to grow and do what we can. And it's like I said, we don't do ballrooms and stuff, and none that I remember. So
yeah, I know. You had just said that this Saturday it'll be the Art of War.
Yeah.
And so how do you guys come up with like show names? Because like that has to be really difficult to like have to go back and see if it's already been used, or, you know.
That's Drexel. He has a way with making stuff like Queen of Thorns is a regular yearly thing. Port Slamdia is a regular yearly thing. And he's just got a great imagination. He does all our posters. He has his own graphic design if anybody's interested. Company. So I'm just saying he's brilliant when it comes to that. Every poster is better and better each show. Every name's great. Like the television show, What We Do in the Shadows is What We Do in the Ring. I mean, he, you know, Love It to Death was an Alice Cooper album that he made a show out of. So, I mean, the cover of the poster was the same as the Alice Cooper album. So it was really cool. He does a good job.
That is awesome. I know when I was sending you the discussion list the other day, you said that there would be one question that would maybe be difficult. I think it's this one. But if you could create a WrestleMania main event out of this new crop of talent that we have here in the Pacific Northwest, who would you book?
Wow. Geez, that is hard to answer because there's a lot of good talent. I would do a WrestleMania event with I'd love to see Drexel and Funny Bone team up and go against Cleaver and a partner of his choosing. Cleaver's been with every company I've ever been associated with. He's won every title anywhere. And if anybody deserves that big WrestleMania moment, it's Dr. Cleaver. But Funny Bone, Drexel, and Cleaver, you know, put them up against any other three people. They would put on a show that would just blow everybody away. But if it had to go back to the old days, I would like to see another Buddy Rose Piper match. They always had a hell of a feud going on, and they were great.
That is so cool. When I was talking with Caden Cassidy, I was kind of asking him about whether or not you would ever, or if DOA would ever want to incorporate like barricades and aluminum steps. So, like, do you think that would ever come to fruition?
I think we used to years ago. We had stuff like that, but I don't know. It does take away that intimate feeling of being up close to the crowd. And the crowd's smart enough. The asylum knows that if someone's getting thrown out of the ring, they're going to fucking move. That's it. They're going to get out of the way, and that's all. So I don't know. I don't know about the steps and stuff. They know how to jump in the ring. Like I said, we're just a little different than anybody else. We enjoy that. Never know down the line, you might be at a place that wants that. You might be on the road. Let's say you go somewhere and then they say, well, you got to have this and that. So we'd have to get it somehow. But right now where we're at, we're fine. We didn't have to. You never went to a Harvey show and that was right up in your face everywhere. So yeah, we enjoy that. It gets the crowd more invested. But like I said, never know down the line what might happen.
Yeah. I know PAL Pro Wrestling had just had their first steel cage match. Was there any previous stipulation that was maybe one of your favorites, or is there any stipulation that you would like to see come to DOA?
Well, we had 2 rings one time for War Games, which was fun. One was a regular ring, one was a barbed wire ring. One was a barbed wire ring, and I would like to see, and we've had hair matches. I like to see maybe old kind of coal miner's glove match again, like in the old days. We've had belt matches hanging up above us and stuff. But yeah, there's always something. But I did like the 2 ring when we had. That was War Games type we did, and that was really fun.
Yeah,
I like to do that.
That is so cool. So, like, well, what can we really expect from the future when it comes to DOA? Do you have any plans that you're kind of tucking in your back pocket?
Well, if I did, I wouldn't tell you, now would I? DOA is always known for surprising people. We're just going to keep doing what we've been doing for 15 years. Just putting on the best shows that we can bring you, letting the fans enjoy it, and never know who's going to be at a DOA show. And if anything comes up, we'll let you know then.
That is so awesome. All right. Well, just as like a final question before we end up closing everything out, like, what does it mean to you to be able to look back at your whole professional wrestling career and then be able to know, like, when you retire that, like, you were able to have like a really, really good career? Like, how much does that mean to you personally?
It means a lot. I've enjoyed this business for a long time, and many friends, many that, well, I'll never forget. That's what I like. I have respect for all the people that have been in the ring, no matter what company I worked for. They work their asses off. They go in there, they entertain everybody, but they have a great time. And that's what I will look back on, is being part of that great time and meeting all these people I've gotten to like and love, and can't take away those memories.
Well, that is so freaking awesome, man. Well, I just want to thank you a lot for actually taking time out of your day to sit down with me.
That's all right. It's all right. I can eat dinner later.
Oh, man.
And I'm recording. I'm recording my hockey game, so I'm fine.
Oh, man. All right. Well, I hope you have a very, very good night, and I cannot wait to see you in June.
All right, June 9th.
Good night.
All right. Take care, bud.
All right, you guys. So that was Interesting's podcast interview with Kevin Brandt. Make sure to hit that like, subscribe button, ring that notification bell so you guys get notified whenever I upload content. Make sure to go and follow me on social media at CodyT503. That's Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. And remember, May 19th at 6 p.m. PST, Interesting Podcast is going to have the return of Jackhammer. This is going to be another interview you guys are not going to want to miss. So make sure you guys ring that notification bell so you guys get notified when I go live.